I want to quickly talk to you about WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. A lot of folks, when people talk about WordPress in general, they have no idea what they're talking about. So in today's conversation, I want to clarify everything for you. At the end of this show, you will have a clear idea about WordPress, or what WordPress.com stands for and what WordPress.org also stands for. So here's the overview I want you to pay attention to. So whether you need to, if you need a site to turn your e-commerce business into a multi-million-dollar operation, or if you want to start a blog, or let's say you just need a landing page to collect leads, WordPress has options for you. And if you are considering WordPress to build your site, you may have come across two different types of WordPress sites. So you have WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So in today's conversation, I will walk you through the key features, the pricing, the pros and cons of each option so that you can decide which is the best option for you. It's really important to understand that the key difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org is basically, it's all about customization. You have customization and monetization. So WordPress.com gives users a quick and easy way to get started for free and can expand to more custom paid options as they grow. But WordPress.org requires a steep learning curve. In other words, you might have to know a little bit of PHP, a little bit of CSS, a little bit of HTML, a little bit of programming. Because if you are trying to really customize things, that level of granularity, that level of customization sometimes can slow things down. So this is really important to really think about it. And one thing I want to say here is that before we actually go into the nitty gritty, you need to understand that besides WordPress.com and WordPress.org, you have other players when it comes to you coming online. You have Shopify, of course, for e-commerce functionalities. You have Wix. You have GoDaddy Commerce. You have a lot of players. You have Drupal. So Drupal is kind of similar to WordPress in when it comes to the programming knowledge, when it comes to the customization level. But Drupal requires more knowledge in terms of programming. And one thing, and you also think about the Equid. So you have a lot of players. So just be aware that you have options. By the way, welcome back, boss, to today's show. We love having you here. Make yourself comfortable. We are going to have a wonderful show about WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. Let me first give you the review here so we have a clear idea what we're speaking about. So I first want to talk to you about WordPress.com. So what is WordPress.com? So WordPress.com is basically a provider of hosting. You can do it's just you can host your website. You can actually build your website. You can monetize your website. So with WordPress.com, you can monetize through selling your own products and services, affiliate marketing, word ads, sponsored posts and donations, or tips from readers. And Word Ads is the only ad network available for use with your free WordPress account. If you want to qualify for an ad service like a Mediavine or AdThrive, you must use a self-hosted account instead. And so unless you pay for a premium or a better plan at $14 or $15 per month, you will not generate ad revenue from the ads WordPress places on your site. They keep it. So with a free account, you give WordPress the right to share your content how it sees fit. And so WordPress.com does not allow plugins which extend the functionality of a site unless purchasing a business or e-commerce plan. However, there are standard themes that are easy to install in minutes. And so while it lacks customization, you can have your sites live quickly. So think about WordPress.com as a platform that allows you to be online real quick. So let's quickly go through the pros and cons of WordPress.com. The platform, here are the pros first. So the platform offers a free option. It's very easy to use, and it comes with pre-installed SSL certificate. So you have a pre-installed SSL certificate. This is really good for when it comes to security, and it comes to the data. It comes to the privacy preservation of your customers' data. What about the cons here? There is no advanced customization option available. You will have ads on your site with the free version, and the subdomain will end in WordPress.com by default. Here is a pricing for you. I want you to look on the screen right now. Here's a pricing for WordPress.com as of the date of this show. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. So you understand what WordPress.com is. Let's talk about WordPress.org. So when you think about WordPress.org, I want you to think about software that is free. So this is what it is. So it is an open source software tool. Okay. So despite WordPress.org being known as the self-hosted WordPress.com option, despite the fact that WordPress.org is known as the self-hosted WordPress option, you typically don't host the site yourself unless you do a hosting setup. Okay. And so basically what you have to do is if you go through WordPress.org, you pay for a web hosting company such as Bluehost or SiteGround or GoDaddy to host your site for you. And web hosting providers generally offer plans from $10 to $30 per month. Often they provide a free domain name for the first year you're with them. And WordPress.org gives you virtually limitless creative options thanks to HTML and other coding languages. So if you're not coding savvy, you can use pre-made themes to change the look and layout and plugins to increase the functionality of your sites. There are even marketplaces where you can purchase advanced themes that work best for the goal of your site. For example, there are options specifically for e-commerce or travel blogging. So the thing here is that all the content you share on your self-hosted site is owned by you, as well as all the rights. This means that WordPress cannot reshare your content anywhere. And site owners also can sell ad space on their websites with WordPress.org, whereas you can't do it with WordPress.com unless using word ads. So provided it's illegal, you can use any type of monetization method when self-hosting. It is best to double check with your host company in case it has specific rules around certain niche industries, such as CBD or adult content. So let's quickly go through the pros and cons here. The pros: WordPress.org uses a custom domain name. You have advanced customization options. You can use plugins and sell ad space for revenue. What about the cons? Well, WordPress.org is more complicated because of advanced customization. You have to pay for hosting, and you have a constant need to update plugins and themes. So here is a pricing for WordPress as of the date of this show. It's a free platform. You don't have to pay anything. So here's a winner. Let's quickly go through the pros and cons, and let's quickly stack up those two companies. I mean, they're not companies, but because WordPress.org is not a company, but let's just, you know what I mean. So first, let me talk about the cost. So WordPress.org is free. You just have to pay for the hosting provider, right? And for WordPress.com, it goes from $0 all the way to $45 a month. What about the domain name? Well, with WordPress.com, it's free for 1 year if paid annually. With WordPress.org, it often comes free for 1 year from the hosting company. What about monetization options? Well, with WordPress.com, things are a little complex because selling products and services, affiliate marketing, word ads, sponsored posts, and donations or tips are ways to monetize your content on WordPress.com. On WordPress.org, you are able to actually you can monetize virtually anything, provided it doesn't go against the terms of service of WordPress.org, but also your hosting company. And what about plugins? Does WordPress.com allow plugin only with business or e-commerce plans? So you got to be in a certain pricing tier to actually benefit from that. With WordPress.org, everything is possible. Doesn't matter. What about Google Analytics? Well, with WordPress.com, you need to have a premium plan and above to be able to allow Google Analytics. Well, WordPress.org, there is no limits. What about backup and storage? Well, when it comes to WordPress.com, you have 3 to 200 gigabytes of storage. With WordPress.org, things depend on the hosting company, right? Because WordPress.org is not a company. And what about e-commerce options? Well, with WordPress.com, you actually can you have options for e-commerce if you're paying if you have the e-commerce plan, which costs about $59 all the way to $75 per month. And with WordPress.org, of course, you have access to e-commerce options with the right plugin. You need to have the right plugin. So the bottom line here is what? With WordPress.com, you have a company that's already existing, that's giving you all kinds of capabilities, but you have to stick with their rules, so to speak. With WordPress.org, you have more freedom. You have an open source free platform, but you need a lot of plugins for nearly anything. Like you need a lot of plugins for e-commerce, plugin for marketing, plugin for nearly anything. Something you don't have to worry about if you were to go with WordPress.com. So think about that. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a compare and contrast between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. So basically WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. So here's the decision for you. I want to dig a little deeper here in terms of the dichotomy between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Let's first talk about the cost and domain names. So WordPress.com is free for most users, but for advanced features, you must use a paid plan. And this starts at about $7 to $9 per month and go up to $59 to $65 per month. So while the free version comes with a custom domain name, such as my site here at WordPress.com, you must pay for a domain name if you want full customization, like mysitehere.com. With WordPress.org, most host companies provide a free custom domain name for the first year. So that's for the cost and domain names. What about monetization and rights? So one could argue that WordPress.com offers enough monetization options, but there is a glaring difference compared to WordPress.org in ad options. With .com, you can only use Word Ads, which is WordPress's official advertising network. A self-hosted account allows for any ad network, such as Google AdSense, Mediavine, or AdThrive. For bloggers in particular, you must have a self-hosted blog via WordPress.org if you want to make money blogging. This is because the vast majority of influencer networks require you to self-host, so you own the content you produce without giving WordPress the blanket right to use your content as they see fit. Similarly, let's say you want to publish a book traditionally, and you build your audience via a blog or website by sharing excerpts from your book. Whether you use .com or .org, a traditional publisher won't take any content you've posted online. This is because you have already published the content, even if it was just on your own website. Google Analytics is the tool used to measure site traffic, and you can install it on a self-hosted site. If you want the option for your WordPress.com sites, you must purchase a premium plan or above. And most influencer networks and brands require a blogger or influencer to have Google Analytics installed on the website. So the thing here is that you can see that WordPress.com becomes too complicated when it comes to monetization, right? If you don't need advanced customization or monetization tools and are okay with display ads, you may enjoy using WordPress.com. An example is someone keeping a journal online about a family member's health updates. You don't plan on making money off this and need a place to share updates with friends and family anyway. Let's talk about storage. So this is another element to analyze if you're looking at WordPress.org versus WordPress.com. So the amount of backup and storage available on WordPress.com depends on the plan you choose. So free plans start at about 3 gigabytes, and with the paid plan, you can go all the way to 200 gigabytes of storage. For WordPress.org, the amount of storage available depends on your host company package, and many offer unlimited storage, particularly with higher tiered packages. It's important to understand that the amount of storage you get will depend on the target audience you have, your e-commerce ambition, right? The products you're selling. For example, if you're selling heavy digital downloads, then you need more storage anyway. You know, if you're selling photos, if you're selling videos, it really depends on the kind of vision you have, the kind of strategy you have for your e-commerce ambition. So for storage, it's just a lot better in our view to go with something unlimited instead of going to 200, because even 300 gigabytes to 200 gigabytes, they can be really, can really vanish real fast if you have a data heavy website. So what about e-commerce? Well, WordPress.com offers an e-commerce option for $59 or more per month. So users can accept payments in over 60 countries, integrate with shipping carriers, and have a better design options. With plugins, WordPress.org users can integrate their site with e-commerce solutions, as well as choose themes suited for selling online. So you can see here that when we talk about e-commerce, WordPress.org doesn't have the capability. You need to add it through a plugin, whereas WordPress.com does have it. But again, you need to go on the higher tier plan to actually avail yourself of those capabilities. So either way, you have to pay money, right? Either you pay it through a third-party plugin or you actually go through a WordPress.com. What we have seen is that in our experience, it's just a lot better to actually deal with one company, in this case, WordPress.com, because when you go with third-party plugins, sometimes the developer of those plugins, they are really sporadic in terms of their customer support. Like if there is a problem with the plugin, then you lose money. You lose your $69 or your $75. Especially if the provider is not responding to your queries, it can be a little problematic. But if you have a company such as WordPress.com, and you can deal with customer service, things can move a little faster. I mean, I just want to comment on the e-commerce side of things. So what is the bottom line here? So WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. Which one should you go for? The first question is, before we answer the question, the first query that I need to put to you is, what is important for you? Are you trying to monetize your content? Are you trying to have an established presence online? What is your time horizon? 1 year, 5 years, 1 month? What is it? And it's important. And are you a freelancer? Are you doing this for business? Are you doing this for money? Because if you are doing this for money, WordPress.org is a lot better. WordPress.org is a lot better because you actually keep a lot of control. You are able to you're able to control your ad revenue. But obviously you have to pay for third-party plugins, that's for sure. But at least you keep a lot of control. Not only in terms of your content, but also in terms of the monetization opportunities. Okay, but if you don't care about monetization, you just want to have an online presence, then WordPress.com could be better too. So no matter the reason for needing a content management system, WordPress has options for every need. However, there are certain situations that warrant using a self-hosted option. So if you are, let's say, if you are a blogger or a business owner selling products or services, you are best sticking with the self-hosted website through WordPress.org. Although an e-commerce plane exists with WordPress.com, you can't beat the customization options available with WordPress.org for your online store. You want to use WordPress.com if you just want a free website to experiment with, or you don't need customization or plugins, because this is where you don't have to worry about things like customization. You have to worry about losing access to your data, or most importantly, if you don't care about monetization, that's fine. Then it doesn't really matter whether WordPress.com places AdWords on your website or not. It doesn't matter if you don't really hook up with Mediavine or AdThrive, right? Because you're not doing this for money. Okay, so this is the only time when you will use WordPress.com. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I just went with you quickly through WordPress.com versus WordPress.org. So I give you the overview, the review, the winner, and the decision. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.